I think I'm entitled. You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Welcome to another episode of The Outsiders. I'm your host, Sean Sims, and we're going to have quite a show today. I'm going to get right into it. What's going on? Everyone's talking about it. They will be talking about it up until November the 5th, past November the 5th, throughout the rest of the year. But that's the election. People are early voting, and the outsiders say, get out there, vote who you want to vote for, and don't let anybody discourage you otherwise. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say this real quick, and then we're going to get to our special guest, Bishop Barry Chapman. But I want to say this real quick. There's a lot of bullying and intimidation going on out here for people to vote who they think another person or group of people should be voting for. And I'll say this. I'm an American. I'll speak for myself. I'm an American. I'll vote for whoever I want to vote for because I'm an American. I can wear whatever I want to wear. I can vote for whoever I want to vote for. I can live wherever I want to live because I'm an American. And you tell that person, and it doesn't matter if it's coming from one side or the other. You tell those folks that might be trying to intimidate you or bully you, I'm going to vote who I want to vote for, who I think best represents myself. That's what you do. If they don't like it, they can take a long walk off a short pier. Okay, so I wanted to get that out of the way. But get out there and vote for who you think is the best candidate. And what's going on with, we're going to focus on this. There was an interview done, and that interview was October the 4th. Frank Conaway Senior show. Even though Frank Conaway's passed away, he still has a show. Carlton Douglas is the host, and he has Robert DeShield, an attorney, and this other young lady, her name escapes me, but they're the co-hosts. But the clerk of the court was on this show and had some interesting things to say. And what I got, the vibe I was getting from that was, and this is in regards to what's going on at the circuit court, and it had I don't know, the Costa Nostra tone to it. What's going on down there at the circuit court? And this kid Xavier Conaway, he said some things, and people need to know what's really going on. What's really happening. So I'm gonna get to that as well. But let me bring him on in. That's Bishop Barry Chapman, our special guest. Bishop, how are things going today?
Holding line of scrimmage.
No, please don't talk about football after that disastrous. The Ravens and the fumble fingers. I mean, those defensive backs couldn't catch a cold. I mean, those defensive backs, I mean, they couldn't catch a headache. They couldn't catch a case. I mean, they couldn't. Would you get where I'm going? I mean, wow, was that terrible? But I'm sure the Ravens are going to bounce back. But we want to get off of that. But we want to get into the nitty gritty, and that is Bishop. Did you hear the interview by the Frank Conaway Senior show, the Xavier Washington? He changed his name to Conaway to win an election, which I don't believe he won. Thanks a lot, Armstead Jones, which I don't believe he won for a second. But did you hear the interview, the cupcake interview, kissing interview on October the 4th?
Yeah. Well, somebody, first of all, I didn't hear the show. I was trying to call in Well, I didn't hear the comment, but I was trying to call into the show while they were on the show.
Yes.
Because somebody called me and told me that the comment was made. And because I wanted to have an opportunity to talk to him, because he's been basically kind of missing, in action as far as how he, I guess you can call it, how he operates with regard to managing the courthouse. I think what's happening in the courthouse is that people kind of frustrated with how he manages, okay, and basically try to convince people that, at least the employees, that he's a pro-labor person. Well, in my opinion, the staff thinks otherwise.
Oh, well, yeah.
They're wild filing grievances left and right.
Oh, yes, they are. Tons of grievances being filed, and what you're talking about as far as the comment, the La Costa Nostra comment, the Mafia comment regarding the judges. I'm going to get to that in a second, but this bullying. See, this is the thing that gets me. You have people who have these shows, and they have guests come on the show, and they basically just let the guests say pretty much anything they want to say, and they don't challenge them. Young Xavier, yes, he's the youngest elected official. I don't believe it was a legit election. I was even there in the room, online in the room for the certification, and I made that clear. Armstead Jones, I think, is a disgrace, an abomination to the election process. And I know, Armstead, what you do. So this bullying that goes on, and he made himself seem like he was the best thing since sliced bread. In his cupcake softball interview with kissing Frank Conaway Sr.'s backside and his grandson, the apple fell way far from the tree. And kissing his backside, that's all it was. The information he gave was false information, and I'll challenge him. As a matter of fact, I want everyone to know I actually called and I sent an email to Xavier to be on this show so that I could give him a real interview. Sorry, Carlton, that was a cupcake weak interview. That's all you did, is bring that kid on to try to make him look like he's Susie Sunshine, and he's terrorizing that circuit court, and it's a shame. It's a disgusting. And I was disgusted with Carlton and Robert DeShiel, and I'm gonna let you guys know that straight up. All that kid is doing down there is he's terrorizing the employees, and that's what's going on. But in regard to that, because Bishop, you're representing some of the employees down there who are having issues, serious issues, with the civil rights violations that are going on by this kid. What's going on lately? What's been happening lately?
Well, they've been moving this one young lady. She's been at the circuit court for at least, I would say, a few years now. Mm-hmm. And
okay.
They moved her at least 4 to 5 times in different divisions. So
just moving her for no reason or not following protocol?
They're saying basically that there's shortage in certain departments, so she had to move over there to make it up. So, which I don't believe that was the case. They were just trying to move her to frustrate her to leave.
Well, that's just little things that are doing, like little retaliation, little things like that, and big things as well. The sexual harassment that goes on at that circuit court. I noticed that Robert DeShiel and Carlton didn't bring that up. I noticed they didn't bring up anything regarding him saying that he was going to go in and he was going to do an audit and find out where the money went, because there's funds that are missing having to do with fees that were paid taxpayers' dollars. I noticed they didn't bring that up. See, this is what I'm talking about, this go along, get along crap that goes on in Baltimore City. And that's what they should have done. But that's okay, because the outsiders actually, we do what others don't do. We're not go along to get along. We're actually going to bring that up. And I want to play something, Bishop. I want you and everyone to hear it. And it has to do with exactly what young Xavier Washington is doing with the bullying that goes on down at that circuit court. And Dr. Phil has something to say not only about this election and process, but the bullying that goes on. Let me go ahead. Cut. I'm cut 3. Here we go.
They want to do it, but they're too intimidated. Because you know what happens when somebody in this country says, hey, I'm going to vote Republican, I'm going to vote Donald J. Trump? They get canceled, intimidated, marginalized, excluded, or even fired or boycotted. And you know what that means? In short, that adds up to being bullied. And now we're talking about something I know a hell of a lot about. Now you're in my wheelhouse, buddy.
Buddy.
I may not be an expert in politics, but I am an expert about bullying. And bullying is when you seek to harm somebody, you seek to intimidate, coerce, cause distress, fear, risk to their well-being. And it can be physical, verbal, relational, or cyberbullying. And bullying is when you seek to harm somebody, you seek to intimidate, coerce, cause distress, fear, risk to their well-being. And it can be physical, verbal, relational, or cyberbullying. And it's always wrong. You say it's wrong. You said it, my friend. It is always wrong when you bully somebody.
It's always wrong when you bully somebody, especially an elected official that gets put in charge of people, gets into his office. I'm talking about you, Xavier Washington. I'm not even going to, you don't even deserve the name Conaway, so I'm not even going to call you that. Xavier Washington, Alexander Washington. The bullying that goes on there, and then he's trying to make it sound, oh, we're a team and we're working together and everything is great, and I came up with the idea, and it was my vision for the MDEC. The MDEC was already ready to go before this punk kid, this arrogant punk, was put into that office unfairly, unjustifiably, because I don't believe for a second he won that election. Put in there, and he did nothing but terrorize people and bully people. You know what? Bishop, what do you think? What do you think of bullies? Bishop's on location. That's all, people. You hear a little noise in the background. He's on location. I understand that, and I got him to be a special guest today. I'm glad he's here. But what do you think of bullying? Bullies?
Anybody that's in a situation where bullying is taking place in the workplace, I think, and basically that, the state workers, so the administrative office of the court should basically, administrative office of the court should basically step in and investigate.
You think?
Yes. Yeah. Gotta get a open it up.
Okay, we're going in and out. We're going in and out, Bishop, for some reason. But
so I think the employee should file a grievance about harassment and discrimination, and then have a hearing about the antics that's going on at the circuit court, and saying that they should file a grievance that if they have instances that they can bring up to say that they're being harassed, discriminated, and bullied, that is not a terms and conditions of employment, and that every workplace should be free from bullying and all that kind of stuff. So the question would be, is that if we can get to employees to actually file a grievance so that AOC would have to step up and hear the grievance.
Well, you have the AOC and their grievance process, their grievance hearing process, which I've been involved in, sucks. It's a kangaroo court. And I'm going to tell you this, Judy Rupp, your process sucks. Warren Hedges, oh Warren, something's coming for you regarding the bar. Warren Hedges. Warren Hedges is there, and he's supposed to be the fair practice officer, and he is a disgrace. What were your dealings with Warren Hedges? Because this guy he's a disgrace. And the bar association, the Bar of Maryland, they need to look at Warren Hedges, who's saying he's not the respondent's representative. He's the one getting the information from the employees. And he's the respondent's representative. Lied, said he's not the respondent's representative. Oh yeah, Warren, I have the receipts. So this Warren Hedges, this clown, this whole setup that they have, okay, with the administrative office of the court, in order to sucker people in to give Warren Hedges all this information, and he's the one representing the people he's complaining. The workers are complaining about. What do you think of that process?
Well, I don't think it's a bad process. I don't think that they actually getting a fair shake.
You're being really nice, Bishop. We talk about this stuff. We talk about this stuff, and you're being really laid back and nice now.
The grievance process itself is. I'm not trying to think about it at all, but the grievance process for state employees is it's not conducive for justice to occur in the halls of justice that they represent. So I think that the Chief Judge Matthew Stevens needs to revamp their whole employee relations office itself. And get them a new slate of people who actually can go in and tell management when they're wrong, when they're dealing with employee grievances.
Okay, conflict of interest. Do you think there's a conflict of interest for the fair practice officer? Let's just come out and say it, okay? I don't know why you're being so nice. We have private conversations, and you rip and tear. So, I'm seriously, with this conflict of interest with Warren Hedges, their fair practice officer, with employees when they have the bullying, intimidation, retaliation, discrimination, harassment, all this stuff, hostile work environment going on, constructive discharge, all this stuff is happening with these employees via Xavier Washington, the clerk of the court. All this stuff is going on. Then they take them to here, give it to Warren Hedges. Warren's the respondent's representative. Is it not conflict of interest? Serious conflict of interest.
Well, I don't think that the fair practice office is there to administer fair practices and make sure that they're not doing things that they shouldn't be doing to employees. I just think the fair office act like a buffer between the management and the employees, and not administering fair practices to make sure that they checking and doing the checks and balance situation. So
I think it's more than a buffer. I think they're aiding and abetting. When you have a conflict of interest, it's not a buffer. It's more than a buffer. They're literally using the information that he gets against the employee.
Well, yeah, they're sharing the information, and it definitely would be a conflict if they're sharing confidential information with the managers against the employees.
Yeah, but he's the respondent's representative. The respondent is the circuit court or administrative office of the court. So you're giving information to the respondent's representative. That's a whole lot more than a buffer. That's a serious conflict of interest.
Well, it's a conflict of interest, but the question is the state legislature is the one that they create these fair practice offices, and there's no oversight from the legislature of how they operate. That's where the issue is.
Well, there have been complaints. Now, here's the thing. Now, this is the part that everyone needs to hear. This, everyone needs to hear what's really going on at that circuit court, and that came out. That came out from the bully himself, as a bully calling the judges basically bullies. You got bullies calling people bullies, which is a joke. But I want everyone to hear this. This is part of the interview. October the 4th. You can look it up, Frank Conaway Senior Show on YouTube, and you can look it up. And here is the interview, and I'm going to go ahead and cue this up with Xavier Washington.
You don't know how they move in different situations. You don't know what they stand for. So how do you look into judges before
you have to get people involved in, because like you said, there's no one that runs against them because they run it like almost like the Mafia. So listen quickly, thank you so much for that comment. And about the judges, because I work with the judges.
Wait a minute, hold on. All right, you got to be
very quick. It is important that you do look into these judges, because a lot of judges, they are elected, but they do not act like they are elected. So this is a situation people really need to look into and get some competition there, because a lot of the ones I work for, they're elected, but they do not put the public first in there. One that runs against them because they run it like almost like the Mafia. So no.
Yeah, like the Mafia. They don't take the public's interest first. Now this is the clerk of the court, Xavier Washington, Baltimore City. Thank you, producer. Baltimore City clerk of the court, telling in a radio interview, okay, telling the whole world that the Baltimore City Circuit Court judges operate like the Mafia, and that they do not care. Their first, I guess, response is not in the interest of the citizens of Baltimore City. And this is what he said in the interview. So I got a bully claiming that that they're the bullies. I guess he's not. He's a nice guy. So Bishop, what do you think of that?
I think it's an outrageous comment for the court to make a statement about the judges. But I guess at this point, I don't know whether the judges heard the comment, but I mean, maybe they should be aware that he made the comment and go check him about it. And certainly that he shouldn't be making statements like that. But I mean, like you said, he's a new politician that's definitely green, so he doesn't understand that there's certain comments that you can't make, and there's certain things that you think that you shouldn't say. Okay, but trying to get him to understand that probably be like pulling teeth.
Well, I'm going to play a little bit more of the interview that happened, because I want the people to hear, okay, what happened with some of the rest of this interview. So I'm going to go ahead and play this, and then let the people know, wait a second, everything this kid is saying, at most of what he said, was complete bull. But I'm going to go ahead and play that. Okay, let me cue it up, Q5.
How much this impact this work can do for people even years and decades after it's already happened.
So now that you are successfully elected as clerk of circuit courts for Baltimore City, how has that role and position been for you?
It's been incredibly challenging and incredibly rewarding. As you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, see, the reason why it's been incredibly rewarding is because they're paying this kid who doesn't show up to work hardly. I'm hearing he's half days, doesn't hardly show up. So I guess it is rewarding, $120,000 a year for a part-time job. So let's go on.
Here, I am the youngest elected official in the city, and
I'm debating that. I wouldn't say you were really duly elected, Armstead Jones. Go ahead.
That comes with a lot of assumptions that came.
Assumptions. What is wrong? Does he have some kind of speech impediment? I'm not going to mess with that, because I know some people have speech impediments. But let's go on.
as I was stepping into my role. And one thing that I had to keep in front of my mind, and something my grandmother, Brina Kelly, told me, is that let the work speak for itself. I had to drown out the noise. And
first of all, let's get something straight. This kid don't know jack squat. There are people under him and his mommy who were helping him. I believe Belinda's running the circuit court through him. That's my opinion. Two elected officials. Okay, I would love to see the emails between those two, the official emails that go on. Other people are running it. He does not know what he's doing. So of course, this interview, they're not even pressing him on that. Okay, let's continue.
Just prove to people that I was serious about fixing the clerk's office, fixing the circuit court, showing that it can be an office that puts people first, that puts employees.
You don't put people first. You sure don't put your employees first. That's for sure. Let's go on. Oh no, as a matter of fact, before I go on, Bishop, I have to ask you this question because I'm listening to this kid just run off like he's the best thing since sliced bread. Were you aware, Bishop, that if you're an employee of a circuit court for Baltimore City and you show up 1 minute late, 1 minute, that is counted against you, and if that happens enough times, you can be disciplined and fired. Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard what the policy is. Please learn to be about the policy.
What was that again?
The employees alerted me that policy exists.
Okay, so what do you think of that?
Well, I think what needs to be doing is that this, first of all, most of the employment practices are passed by whatever personnel policy committee that has control over the personnel matters in the state. The problem is that there's a lack of oversight from the legislature about how they carry out these employment practices. And we can file all the grievances to kingdom come, but that doesn't mean anything's going to change until the policy from Annapolis changes, and if they hire a committee, a bunch of people who are not employee relations officers to have oversight over AOC as well as the clerks, particularly the clerks that have problems like this was going on in the circuit court from Baltimore City. And so they can check Xavier Conaway when he's clearly out of bounds. So, this whole filing grievances process is getting old. We have to lobby the legislature to make them change how they manage employee relations, and certainly in the circuit court for Baltimore City. Until we do that, we're just going to be throwing mud up against the wall, and it ain't gonna stick.
So basically, now here's the thing: they know what's going on. They're well aware. I have the receipts, many of them. So no one in Annapolis, none of these delegates or state senators have stepped up to rectify the situation. So that tells me that this Democrat state of Maryland doesn't care about its employees. So they better stop whining and crying about Democrats care for people and Democrat this and that. And I'm going to bring it up because it's a Democrat state. No, they don't. No, they don't. They're a bunch of hypocrites. These Democrat delegates and state senators don't care about the employees. No, they do not. And as far as the Attorney General, he knows exactly what's going on. No one's doing anything. And the reason the DPW case got out there is because they didn't care about the DPW workers at all either. Because Mr. Silver passed away, and you had others that have passed away. Mr. Silver more recently, because of their horrific policies, okay? Now the light's on DPW and those workers. But these politicians, they don't care about people. I've been saying that. They do not care. If there's an event that happens, it's tragic, then they act like they care. But they don't care. So the state delegates, you state delegates, you state senators, they're getting this information. But let me go ahead and continue with young Xavier.
These first to make sure that we can do what's best for the public, and we've accomplished so much. But it took a lot to get it to where it needs to be, because the office before I stepped in for 6 years under my predecessor was a complete disaster, and I do not overstate that in any way. It was a complete disaster.
Now he's talking about Bentley. He's talking about Clerk Marilyn Bentley, saying that things were a complete disaster when I guess he got in and just saved the day. As a matter of fact, things are worse with the employees. Okay, Carlton, Robert, your interviewers, things are worse for the employees now that he got in. And I hear about this parking thing. Nothing in life is free. So we'll find out about how that parking deal worked, what's really going on with that. So he's talking about Marilyn Bentley and throwing her under the bus. He threw the judges under the bus. He's a disgrace. Civil rights violating rat bastard. And he's talking all this trash. And they're, oh, Xavier, you're like your grandfather. Let me continue.
The highest vacancy rate in the history of that office, the highest turnover rate in the history.
And speaking of vacancies and turnovers, he fired several people, 30-year folk. People been there 30 years or close to 30 years, the senior people. He's canned them in the last several weeks, just dropping like flies. So let's continue.
History of that office, lowest morale in years, and people couldn't even get basic supplies.
No. The morale there is terrible. I got inside information for several people, including, and Bishop tells me what goes on as well. And the morale there is absolutely horrific. Bishop, what is the morale like there at the circuit court from the people you speak with?
Well, the morale down there is just like, it's like the switching tools, morale right up off the floor, because they know that they're dealing with a scenario where they're not gonna get the kind of justice they should get, and they know they're being faked out about whether management cares about them or not. Okay. Now I think there was some mention about the fact that he wanted to make sure that employees had some type of parking and all that kind of stuff. But all that that's just common circumstances, because he's not in control of that at all. Mm-hmm. And he's in control of the scenario where they could basically ride the light way out of the buses for free. Bus fares, other state employees actually enjoy the fact that they all got to do is show their badges and they can ride in transportation for free. But because state employees those particular state employees don't have collective bargaining, and that's why they don't enjoy those benefits. Mm-hmm. So until we and ASME has done a poor job at trying to make sure that the state employees in the Baltimore City or statewide have collective bargaining. Now, Judge Bell, retired Judge Bell, used to be the chief judge in Maryland. He basically blocked that whole collective bargaining bill that former Senator Nathaniel McFadden kept putting in the legislature. Okay. So at this point, we're going to have to decide whether or not they want to ask me to continue to represent them. Okay. And or try to pick another union.
Represent them? What representation?
Well, that's what I'm saying, because they're not being represented.
No, I mean, it's a joke. ASME's having issues with the circuit court. ASME's having situation with the circuit court employees. They're not representing them. it looks like the DPW workers, I don't know if they're going to be getting another union because they're saying AFSCME is not representing them as well. What is with this collecting all these money and dues, and they're not representing people? The circuit court people, the circuit court employees, they should get with the DPW employees.
Well, the problem with this is that the circuit court employees will have to make up their mind about whether or not they want to continue going down this rabbit hole. Okay. So, and I'm down there representing them, for free, out of a labor of love, because I'm just not going to stand on the sideline and watch people be abused and look the other way.
Exactly. Look, I feel you.
Let me tell you about the last grievance I had when I was down there, right? The last grievance I had was a case where they basically had a scenario where, you remember the fires that were going on underground and downtown Baltimore?
Yeah, because of the gas lines were put in improperly. They were wrapped around bigger lines, smaller lines. Yeah, go ahead.
So what happened was that they basically the fire from underground went up to the Juvenile Justice Center from downtown. So the employees at the Juvenile Justice Center in Bay Street was experiencing watery eyes, and coughing because of the smoke that was coming up underground and into the building. So the sheriffs was alerting everybody that they need to get out the building. And so one of the managers that I represented down there tried to contact the front office to request that they be allowed to send the employees home. Well, let me tell you how mismanaged they are. They didn't have an emergency call number to contact Xavier Conaway or his other subordinate deputy clerks to call them and say yeah or nay about whether they can send the employees home. So the manager had to go back to have the judge that's in charge, the administrative judge that is in charge of the Juvenile Justice Center, to ask him could she send them home. So the judge said yes, you can send them home. It's basically a health and safety issue. And so how about they wrote her a letter of reprimand saying that she didn't have the authority to send them home.
So they were going to leave them there? They were just going to leave them in the building?
If they couldn't get in touch with the front office,
so it's stupid.
They didn't have no after-hour numbers, so she had no alternative but to ask the judge who runs the Juvenile Justice Center.
A bunch of idiots. They're a bunch of idiots.
They gave her a letter of reprimand, and so she called me and she asked me did I remember who she was. I said I remember who you are. I think you were a supervisor of another employee that I represented that was under your under your supervision about maybe like 10 years ago. So she says, I'm calling you because I got a letter of reprimand, and I was
idiots
to ask you, will you represent me in this group? I said, absolutely. I said, so tell me what happened. And so she went on to tell me, that they gave her a letter of reprimand saying she had authority. So, anyway. So I represented her. So most of the grievances are on Zoom. So the grievances are on Zoom, and anytime there's a grievance filed, they pick a clerk from another jurisdiction to be the hearing officer.
Yeah, I've dealt with that.
Okay, all right. So this particular clerk was Clerk DeWeese.
DeWeese, yes, Heather DeWeese.
Okay. So we come on the Zoom, and I introduce myself, and so she said, Mr. Chapman, do you have an opening statement? I said, absolutely. I said, so let me begin with this. I said, now, when you up in Carroll County, I said, y'all see all the chaos that goes on in Baltimore City. I said, so whether you agree with me or not, Baltimore City is in the fog, particularly the management of the Circuit Court for Baltimore City. So she says, are you asking for a remedy? I said, yes, I'm asking for the letter reprimand to be taken out of her folder, out of her personnel folder at the Circuit Court, and as well as personnel folders at the administrative officer courts. So I said, how in the world can they say that she didn't have the authority to send these people home when they were confident they had watery eyes from smoke? And they didn't have an after hours number to get in touch with the clerk or his subordinate staff to make a decision, to send them home. And so the only alternative she had was to talk to the judge at the Human Justice Center, and he said, yes, send them home. That was a health and safety issue. So she said, well, I really don't want to hear no more. Remove all those letters from her file at the court and from AOC. And this concludes this hearing. That's my judgment. Y'all have a nice day.
Well, she made a good judgment with you, but she did a kangaroo court with when I represented.
10 minutes.
She did a kangaroo court with when I was as a representative of an employee, but she did the right thing with you. But here's the thing: even after they had the hazmat warnings and the hazmat with the material and anthrax scare, all of that happened at that circuit court, and you're telling me after all that happened, they still didn't put proper protocol to get in touch with Xavier Washington, the clerk?
Well, Xavier is just basically,
He's the clerk of the court, the executive, elected official.
Well, he got elected because of the Conaway.
Well, that's another story, but
now, okay, so the problem is that the electorate does not vet the people who they're voting, okay? And so in order to run an organization that large, where is the management skills that he developed in order to do that? Because stepping into an organization like that is not trial and error. Of managing, you need to have a background in business management.
24-year-old kid. So what kind of background are you going to have?
A background in running a judiciary that's that large.
So he doesn't need to be in that office. I said that in the beginning.
Yeah. But we need to find a candidate to run it.
Yeah, we need to, and we're going to announce that right now. The Outsiders, Bishop Barry Chapman, and my crew, because I got a crew, we're going to actively look for somebody who's mature, somebody who's an adult, somebody who's good with people, not a bully, somebody who's good at managing, somebody who can run that circuit court, not like this clown. This kid doesn't know what he's doing. He thinks, oh, well, I got some free parking. And yeah, it's 7 miles away from, I'm hearing, this free parking is miles away, or it takes, a good while to get to the circuit court from the parking lot. But I'm gonna be looking into that parking business as well, because something smells, something stinks about that. But we need to find, and not just the clerk of the court office, but these elected officials. They're getting in here not being vetted. The people in Baltimore are being just suckered over and over and over again. Let's look at different people to get in. But this Xavier clown, the civil rights violations that are going on there alone should get his butt kicked out. Then the Mafia thing with the judges. I guess the judges are the La Costa Nostra in the circuit court of Baltimore City. And then what's going on with this open door policy, this fake open door. As a matter of fact, let me do this, and then we're going to wind things down. I want to get to, this is an interview I did well, it's a goof, bit of a goof. You know, it's not a real interview, but these were the words that actually came from Xavier's mouth on January 28th, 2023. I did this, and this kid's talking about how he's going to change things around and the stuff he's going to do when he gets in the courthouse, and we're going to take him to task to see if he actually did these things. But let me go ahead and cue this up and play this for everyone. Okay, here it is. Okay. Okay, cut, go.
Those promises include?
We need to make sure that we can go in and see what's happening and maybe possibly have an audit, if possible, to really find out where the money's being spent, where are the resources, and how.
Stop. I don't believe this kid did an audit. He said when he gets in, he's going to do an audit to find out where the money went. Okay. Again, that's why you got to kick his ass out of office, because you got monies that went in that were exempt. The taxpayers were exempt through the mayor's office and the Baltimore City Council. These fees that they paid to the circuit court for years, they were exempt. So that money is due back to the people. The people's money is just poof, in a vacuum, a void, in space. The money just disappeared. And I don't believe this kid did an audit. Let me continue.
Get that aligned so we can step in day one, hit the ground running, and really try to get these problems fixed as quickly as possible and efficiently as possible.
Okay, I see. So since you're in office now, has there been an audit done? Have you fixed these problems? Are you working on it, as you said?
Yeah, I believe they handle it in different ways, but
okay, how would you be handling things with the public and the citizens as well as the employees of the circuit court? What will be your strategy, and what because you're making promises, and we understand that, and you made promises, you're in there now, so what will be your strategy for doing things in the circuit court?
yes, we will have an open door policy of some sort. I have to talk to them.
No. He doesn't have any open door policy. It doesn't. When has anybody gone into that office? Because first of all, the word I'm getting is there may be cameras and recording devices in his office. So who wants to go into an office where you may be? And I asked the question, and I didn't get an answer back. So I mean, full disclosure, I asked that question. I didn't get an answer back, and he was supposed to do a real interview back then when I did this goof. I had fun, did this goof, but he was supposed to do a real interview, agreed to it. Then he wimped out. I guess his mommy must have said, no, don't do it. Don't do it, because he couldn't do a real interview with me. He can do these cupcake interviews, which are a joke. They're a joke. You're supposed to be serious. You're supposed to have a serious radio show, and you don't do a serious interview? Let me go on. My interview, this goof interview I did, having fun, was better than the interview on October the 4th.
I can get rid of the door. That might be something I need to talk with the chief judge, but we're definitely going to make sure that I am accessible to the workers and the public. That comes in all different forms, not just through open door, but making sure that I work with the employees at the courthouse. I talked about on my...
No, what you do is you have a chain of command. People can't even talk to your monkey ass because they got to go through their supervisor, then they got to go to a manager, then they got to go to what? Wait, take that back. A supervisor, then a senior supervisor, then an assistant manager, then a manager, then a senior manager, and then work your way up to get to him because he's in his ivory tower. That's a lie. That's a bald-faced lie. He's not working with anybody. He's hiding behind that office. You got a ringer, a door ringer. You got to ring in, probably cameras out there looking at you, probably cameras and audio recordings in the office. So he's full of shiza.
That I'm going to at least once a week work in each one of the offices.
No. Next. No, lie. Next.
Shoulder to shoulder with the workers, because I think the clerk should actually know what it's like to be at the ground level to actually work side by side.
No, not working side by side. That's a bunch of crap. Let's continue. Wait, Bishop, hold on, Bishop. Let me get you in. Okay, go ahead, Bishop.
He's saying that he's working side by side with the employee.
Yeah, that's what he said he's going to do when he gets in. He's going to work side by side with the employees. He's going to have an open door policy. That's what he said. These are his words.
Okay, well, Sean, what I think we should do, right? we should get a list of all these comments that he's making, and say, and then send it to him and say, okay, so this is what you said in order to run for this office, and then you didn't do it. So So when are you going to do it?
We didn't do it. He's not going to do it. He's a liar. He is a liar. He's lying. He's not going to do that stuff. So he deflected on the stuff that he said he was going to do that he didn't do with this parking thing. Like, this is the greatest thing, and I don't even know if it's that great. We got to find that out. So he deflected. This is a campaign. He's trying to run a campaign to stay in the office because the judges don't like him. Annapolis can't stand him. He can't get money from them. Okay, the workers hate his guts. They hate it. Trust me. And what am I saying? I'm preaching to the choir. The workers hate his guts. You should hear the things that go on that they call him. So this kid.
And I don't know if you heard about it recently or not, but you know that Selena Harris left.
Oh yeah, I heard about Selena Harris. You know what? Happened?
She was one of the people in the front office. I don't know what I think she was assistant clerk of the court or something like that.
Yeah, she was. I think she was one of those big wigs, and she left. And left. They forced her out. This is the word I got back. And then they forced out senior manager Derek Gillis. Derek Gillis got his butt forced out, so they got rid of him. Derek Gillis. I wouldn't be doing this podcast, and I wouldn't be involved in all of this if it wasn't for Derek Gillis. So you all can thank Derek Gillis. He's gone now, but you can thank Derek Gillis because I wouldn't be doing this. But Derek did, as far as the information I'm getting back from close friends of his. He knew his stuff. He was valuable as far as a manager, and he did know his stuff. I'll give credit where credit's due. I was being told that. And I also get tons of information back about what goes on at front office and all the other places around that circuit court, Xavier. So I know what's going on. I know your little stupid little plans. I know what's going on, okay? And so do a whole lot of other people. So this stuff you think you're doing in the dark, getting away with, trust and believe. I got people, eyes and ears all over the place, boy. You don't even know. You don't even know. All over the place. But Bishop, this thing with the him saying he's going to do all these great things, and I like your idea of putting a list together.
Yes.
I think we should do that. Put a list together of all the things, campaign promises that he made that he broke, promises he made after he won. He still kept popping off at the mouth of what he was going to do. And then he said in the interview on October the 4th that it was his vision, and he put the MDEC, he implemented the MDEC. Like, he walked through the door, Bishop, and then he just set the MDEC up. Delusional. And got no pushback.
People brag about they can brag about their qualifications, but you actually got to perform the task. How about that?
Delusional. Then it said he worked at GlaxoSmith and Pfizer as he was this big time marketer for Pfizer and GlaxoSmith. That's not on his That's not on his LinkedIn page. On his LinkedIn page, he's some lead negotiator for some video Zenith or something about videos. That's on his LinkedIn page. There's nothing about Pfizer being a marketer, lead marketer for Pfizer and GlaxoSmith. Where'd that come from? That sounds like somebody who is trying to soup themselves up, who's starting to campaign for this office. But that's not going to work, kid. And you tell Belinda, your mother, I hope she's listening, Belinda, that's not going to work, because it's going to get out your spawn who was put in there, who's running roughshod, smiling and grinning and laughing at the interview, calling the judges are like the Mafia, and they don't put people first, and he just smiling and grinning, and he's just happy. People are going to find out, and they are finding out. And Bishop, this candidate thing, I'm going to start searching. I'm going to start searching around, looking to see who will be interested in running against, and because with the people that I have behind me and you have behind you and my folks, and the truth actually getting out, the truth, as opposed to this cupcake interview, BS campaign to try to help him in the campaign interview, bull crap. We're actually going to get out the truth about what's going on. And I did call the office. I didn't tell you this, Bishop. Yesterday, I called the office because in that interview on October the 4th, young Xavier Washington said, hey, you can give me a call, or you can email me if you want to talk to me. He put that out there. So I called the office and I asked the question. He didn't get on the phone, of course, because he doesn't have the cojones, and asked him, where's the money? Where are the funds? Where's the money from the taxpayer money that they were exempt in paying through the mayor's office and the Baltimore City Council? For years they were paying. Where's the money? You know, he's not going to get back to me with that because he hasn't done an audit and won't do an audit. Where do you think the money went?
Well, I mean,
you don't know.
First of all,
we can speculate.
You know, well, the thing is that if he won't do an audit, then it will be covered up by the administrative office of the courts to do the audit. Okay, you know, other people can audit you. You don't have to wait until you do a self audit.
They might not want to do that because they may be, you know, they may incriminate themselves for whatever's going on, because if they've known about this, if the ALC has known about these things that are going on at the Circuit Court for Baltimore City, and then they do an audit, you see what I'm saying? Then they could, if there is any funny business, they could incriminate themselves. So they may not want to do an audit. You see what I'm saying? But this is nasty. This is dirty politics. This is dirty, nasty, disgusting. The taxpayers, the people of Baltimore City and the state of Maryland, they should be made aware that this is going on. It's been hidden for too long, way too long. And I want to thank you, Bishop, for being on the show, because we're getting ready to close out. Thank you, Bishop, and we'll talk after this, because you know we got some things we got to go over.
Yeah, no question about it. And I'm going to send you that other information. I'm waiting for the lady to email me that information.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Take care, Bishop.
I talked to her last night. Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Okay.
That was Bishop Barry Chapman. And before we go, I have a shout-out of sorts. And this is to Jamal Bryant, pastor, whatever, bishop, whatever he calls himself. Jamal Bryant. Yeah, Jamal, I know your dad was a pastor. My grandfather was a pastor. And I'm going to let you know, if you don't know it yet, I'm going to let the world know. Jamal Bryant has a new residency. He's got a new residency, and eventually he's going to spend a lot of time, actually forever, in his new residency. Okay, and I'll give you a hint about where it's going to be. How can I put this? Oh, it's going to be a hot time in the old town tonight. Okay, and I want people to hear why he's going to be in this residency that's specially made and specially put together for you, Jamal. Let's listen to why Jamal is going to have this special residency. Q7.
At the risk of being heretical tonight, might I suggest to you that 85% of Jesus' life, he was out of order. 85% of his life, he was doing what he was not called to do. Because y'all done got quiet. For 85% of his life, he was not flowing in his God-given function. 85% of his life, he is doing what his natural father wanted. But it did not line up with his divine DNA. For 85% of his life, and he's anointed, he's called, he's chosen, and he's wrong.
Jamal Bryant, the bell tolls, and it tolls for you. Take care, everyone. This has been another episode of The Outsiders. And I guess, I just want to go out and this because it is a final countdown. It's a final countdown to the election. 5 days. 5 days. Get out there. Get out there and vote. I'm not going to do it until November the 5th. I'm going to do it November the 5th. I'll do it November the 5th. But it's the final countdown. So everybody get out and vote and do what you have to do. And you know what I mean. Bye-bye.